This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and welcome to the Pit Stop, our daily news, sim racing news show, where you, the viewers, can be involved in the news, and we can discuss the topics that people want to talk about. Some things we'll just move along and just touch upon and say, hey, that was today's news for that, and other things we might go into greater discussion if it deems it. If all you, the pit crew, want to get involved, chime in on the conversation. We'll go ahead and take a detour on those topics and keep things going. So I will move along at a pretty good pace on the quick stuff. Some of it will be repetitive at times because, as I mentioned yesterday on our live stream about Don't Believe the Hype, we are inundated with a lot of news that is sometimes just filling the air for people. But let's go ahead and get started. One thing I'm going to touch upon, and it's going to come back a few times in today's show, is the Sim Racing Expo that went on this weekend in Germany. And a lot of people showed up for it. If you go through Facebook, Twitter, whatever, you're going to see a million photos, pictures, videos of things going on. It was a really, really cool show, and I wish I could have attended. I was lucky enough to have Timo Kraus and Michi Hoyer of Avid Chronic Racing get involved and get me some footage. So hopefully we'll have some coverage of some of the things that did go on at Sim Expo. But today, let's get to what we do have on the news. Hello to everybody who joined us. Thank you very much for joining in on today's show. Be sure to let me know where you're coming from. So hello Denmark, hello Norway. That's Mads and Memories Created. So, and Maine is in the house as well, Joe. Thank you very much. Love seeing where all of our viewers are coming from. We have a really good international audience. So let's go ahead and get on to the news and see what's going on in sim racing today. And starting with the Assetto Corsa, where we touched upon him last week with the Ferrari 330, and now it's the Ferrari 312. So their DLC, which is coming out tomorrow, is the new Ferrari pack, 70th anniversary pack. Hello, Britain. Hello, UK. Hello, Atlanta. Hello, Chicago. Fantastic to have so many people from across the world joining in today, being part of the sim news. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and go full screen for a moment, let you see this car. It is another incredible car. I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about a Ferrari and have it not be an incredible car. I mean, there's a reason why Ferrari is Ferrari. And you can see it looks like they're turning laps at Nordschleife, it looks like, in this torpedo-style Grand Prix racer. Hello, Indiana. Hello, Croatia. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you being here, being part of the Simpit pit crew, and being part of the news and chiming in with your opinion. It is a beautiful Ferrari. Hello, Trinidad and Tobago. So that's coming out tomorrow, the whole Ferrari 70th anniversary pack as DLC for Assetto Corsa. That's some pretty cool news right there. Moving on to Project Cars. Now, I don't actually have any Project Cars news other than it comes out in 4 days. That is the news there. They have some pictures from their booth that was at Sim Expo, and I'm sure you have all seen them already. But the Fanatic Direct Drive wheel. We have our first sightings of that wheel. I talked about it a little bit over the weekend. They actually have a video at the Project Cars site, so you can actually see it in action. This direct drive wheel, what you can see, typical box shape like most of the direct drive wheels as expected, and it is adaptable to any of the Fanatic steering wheels. So if you're already a Fanatic client, maybe you have the 918 wheel like we see in this video, it is pretty cool. Being able to use your old hardware is going to be really cool about that. Hello, Doctor in Germany. Another one from Denmark. Hello, Baltic. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm jealous you're getting out on your bike. That's a great thing to do on a beautiful day. So again, Project Cars 2 comes out in 4 days, and the Fanatic wheel, here at the Redline site, we have some pictures as well. A little better close-up of the little display here in the middle. I didn't see that operating, but it looks like something that's coming. This is still very much in its early stages. So, that was Ollie Pakala. Ollie Pakala, right there, hiding, doing his Kilroy. This wheel's still in development, so it's still a ways away from the point where we'll actually be able to see it, test it, feel it for ourselves. But anybody who was at Sim Racing Expo got a first taste of what it's like and what it's going to be And from what I've heard, there are going to be 2 levels, 2 price points on this wheel. I cannot 100% confirm that just yet. Marine Vet, hello, Connecticut. Welcome to the Simpit pit stop. Thank you for being part of the pit crew and chiming in on things. Paul, that's okay. I'll just discuss it, and I'll give you credit. Paul Thomas actually brought a story to me today. I'll go ahead and bring it up now. Granity, Granity, they are going to have their public open beta, which is firmware for the OSW wheels, the SimCube in particular. And that is some good news. So those OSW wheels are starting to get some support, and that could really change the whole market on direct drive wheels in general. Yeah, so they said there were 2 price points for the wheel. That is what I had heard as well. And that is a big deal. Fanatic, this wheel has been a long time coming. Getting a direct drive wheel from one of the big manufacturers is going to bring some peace of mind to certain people who've contemplated whether they really wanted to get into that direct drive market. I mean, even by name, the OSW, open source wheel, that right there scares a lot of people. That right there has a lot of people saying, I don't know if that's for me. I want something that's plug and play, tried and true, don't have to think about it. And I think Fanatic getting into that game really changes things. And for a long time, there's been a lot of push from the community to both Thrustmaster and Fanatic to do this. And it looks like Fanatic is the first one. Every time Thrustmaster comes out with a new wheel base, everyone says, is it direct drive wheel? That's the very first question. And they still have not done that leap yet. So that's about it on that news. And again, there are a lot of pictures and videos all over the internet. These here from Redline. The other ones we saw were from Project Cars, just to be fair and to give disclosure. Something I missed on Friday's show, but there is a GT3 car pack coming out for R-Factor 2. And the Bentley Continental is an incredible race car. And anybody who watches GT racing is very familiar with this car. And it is very cool. That they are, you can just tell by the speed that R-Factor is working at lately that they are really stepping their game up and changing things. So I think we can expect R-Factor 2 to elevate itself into that premium level of sim that they've kind of just, they've been there with the quality of the product. It just hasn't had the evolution to get it to that upper level. And I think they're getting there. Racing, yeah, I've interviewed Ollie before. I should definitely talk to him or somebody at Fanatic directly about the wheel and get some more details. I'll try to bring that to you. Steve says OSWs don't break. Yeah, I don't think it's the breaking that is the fear. I think it's the support, the fact that it's not made by a mainstream company that keeps certain people away. I do not know a release date for the wheel yet, Hunter. So yeah, I know that there's still little issues they're resolving. It is still in the works. This was just really them finally showing it. You know, they've not been over marketing that wheel. They've just let us know. They've let the community do a lot of speculation, and at this point, it's nice to finally get a look at it. So, moving on, Raceroom. One thing I missed also on Friday is that they came out with Imola, which is one of my favorite tracks. I have to admit, when it comes to tracks, I like things that have elevation change and a lot of variance in corners. Some sharp ones, some fast sweepers. Imola is one of those tracks that gives you just every type of combination you could ask for. So that's a track that I'm particularly looking forward to coming out of Raceroom. So, you know, you have all these different sims. Each one has a different flavor. Each one has its own color palette, its own physics, its own tire model, and everybody is going to find a sim that they gravitate to and really find works best for them. So Gary's saying pre-production in October. We'll see if they hold to that. Dave, hello from North Carolina. Thank you for saying hello, letting us know where you're at. Thank you for being part of the pit crew. And Kobe, hello, welcome to the show as well. So anyway, if you haven't checked out Raceroom, if Imola is one of your favorite tracks, it might be a good time to go just check it out a little bit. Codemasters, this is something not sim-related. I just saw this story, and I thought it was worth mentioning. But they are doing an auction. And so who wants to win a Renault Racing Headquarters tour, and a handful of Cody's products, and it looks like even autographed Dirt 4, They're doing an auction, and it's going to Special Effect, which is a UK-based charity for people with special needs, essentially. And they're doing this auction just purely out of charity. If you would like to support that charity, if you would like to maybe get your hands on a tour of the Renault Racing headquarters and a bunch of product from Codemasters, you might want to check that out. The official name is @SpecialEffects. If you go to Twitter, @SpecialEffects, or go to Codemasters, you can find the link. But I believe it's a silent auction. It might be a public open auction. But anyway, if you have interest in supporting this charity, which, you know, you got to be charitable in this world. If you have the means, you got to help out others. That's the only way our societies really work best. Anyway, I don't want to go too far down that path. But check that out if you're into that. Formula One. The reason I'm bringing this up, they don't really have news, but they're opening up the next round in their F1 Esports Qualifier. So 5 more spots to be won by the community. If you would like to be one of the, you know, best Formula One drivers on Earth, this is how you're going to prove yourself. This is the proving grounds. This is where you're going to find out where you really stand against other Codemasters Formula One drivers. And again, if you could get one of those top 5 spots and earn your way into that esports, that could be a very, very big deal. Even a career for some, to be honest with you. John, we'll try to take care of that on a different show. Maybe we'll get into, I wanted to do a beginner guide for each sim, and I think maybe we'll move into a beginner guide for each steering wheel company as well. And Tim, thank you. Oh, Tim, hey, Tim Whitley, speaking of R Factor, thank you for that heads up there, and I'm glad somebody else kind of gave me the backing there, so hopefully people will be supportive of that. And like I said, if you have the means, you know, you get something in return. I mean, can you imagine going to the Renault headquarters? That would be pretty fun. So the wolf behind me is a little tiny 23-pound dog, half Cocker Spaniel, half Pomeranian. He is my buddy. Really good dog. Hopefully he's going to stay quiet today. And Steve, I'm sorry, they already know that. Are you on some blacklist from them or something? Tomorrow's the big release for Forza 7. There you go. Well, the demo. And I have a copy in the works for preview, so hopefully you get some coverage on that as well. Jason, I agree. Hey, if I need somebody to be my iRacing dirt specialist, so if you're interested, contact me. Moving right along. Cockers are great dogs. Big fan of the Cocker Spaniel. One thing I wanted to show, talking about the iRacing and talking about World's Fastest Gamer, we're talking about that competitive level of racing. Yesterday they did do the race, and the winner was Davey D Corpse, followed by Ilka Hapla. And one of the reasons I'm mentioning that is these are the guys from Orion Racing. Where's my other image here? You look at Orion Racing, who's been kind of quiet in the world racing circuit. I mean, Ilka's a huge name. Well, all these guys are really big names. If you know sim racing, you know just about everybody on this team. But it's really good to see Davey DeCorpse and Ilka Hapla having a great showing in that World's Fastest Gamer. And for me, I'm staying on top of World's Fastest Gamer because what I'm really looking forward to, it really can't wait for, is the showdown. The showdown between the R Factor guys, between the iRacing guys, when they put them all head-to-head. And I don't know what the final competition is going to be like, but it will be really cool to see how cross-platform aliens fight each other. That's the best wording that I can think of. Orion, who? Oh, come on. They're not that far back. But it is great to see their name on the top of a leaderboard. I've been good friends. I know a lot of those drivers from like long before any of the sim racing shows that we've done, going back like 15, 18 years even. So some of my good friends are on that team in particular. Excuse me, let me get a drink. Just a question. I've changed my microphone. Not using that microphone on the headset that blew everybody out. I'm kind of yelling a little bit because the microphone's a little bit further away than I'd like it to be. But let me know if the audio is good. We are always trying to improve the show in every which way we possibly can. Roberto, I don't know when the exact final date is. They still have a few more rounds of competition before we're to that phase, but it's going to happen very quickly. I mean, they moved right from R Factor 2 right into iRacing. And I don't know the platform. I'm hoping that they use mixed platforms in a scoring system to kind of make it more fair. And great to hear that the audio is better. All right, I just had to kind of get something so I don't get it too dry and start coughing on you guys. So anyway, that race, if you go to iRacing Live, you can actually see the entire race. Davey went on to win by 7.5 seconds. So, but this is the best of the best in iRacing, playing for their shot at that world's fastest gamer. And, you know, just to, I don't want to downplay this. This is huge. Somebody is going to win a job working with McLaren as their simulator specialist. And if you think of the opportunity that that can lead to, just within the Formula One world, or the other connections that you're going to make, the drivers you're going to meet, the hands that you're going to get to shake in that potential scenario is just a dream come true. Okay, and Racing Freaks, I would not be surprised. That would be pretty much more fair. I mean, I'd like to see a head-to-head showdown, so who's to know? But, you know, we'll stay on top of it and find out. They've been very, very vague with their overall information on World's Fastest Gamer. Stephen King, well, it's hard to not want to work for Ferrari, but I'll take McLaren. All right, moving right along, we do have more to cover. Thrustmaster. Oh, there's a big force feedback update. So the TSXW wheel brought along some new changes from internally. So there is a new driver and a new firmware that's going to work across the board, probably mostly for the TS bases. But you might want to update your Thrustmaster software, just kind of keeping you up on things there. Just a picture. Huskenveld was one of the people, one of the companies at Sim Racing Expo. And I saw this picture and I just thought it was cool. I believe that's Stefano of Assetto Corsa giving out Huskenveld rig a try and having a brief conversation. And I think this picture really captures what Sim Racing Expo is all about. You have the heads of state of various sim companies, various hardware companies, actually getting FaceTime. You know, I've had hello from all over the world here. It's very hard for us to get together and do this in person. And Sim Racing Expo is one of those rare opportunities where the general public, us, can go meet these guys, you know, Nels and Stefano and Marco and Thomas of Fanatic. I got to get there next year. You know, it's not in the budget for the show. It might have to just be a personal thing for me. Might have to be one of my vacations for the year next year. And if you're anywhere in Europe and you didn't go, you really missed out, and I would highly suggest you make sure that next year you can go. And there are some cool events that went on. Hello, Spain. Hello, Frederick. Somebody brought this up on Friday's show, so I just wanted to bring it up. Also, we talked about hardware, PS4 and the Xbox One, how our hardware was starting to get better and more things were starting to move to the consoles and be compatible. Sim Racing hardware actually has an entire line of PS4 gear. I thought I had... Here we go. So if you go to Sim Racing hardware, and I'm not even trying to promote them, it's just this came up last week. You know, if you're looking for a button box that's going to work on your PS4, there you go. So it just shows we are getting to a different level. And, oh, El Bucho, that H pattern that they had there looked really awesome. I'm actually... As soon as I end this show, I'm going to contact them and see about getting that shifter in here for review. That would be awesome. And hello, Belgium. Another thing we talked about a little bit on the show on Saturday, it just came up, was Oculus. And next week for the Sim Tunnel, our discussion is going to be VR. Is this the future of sim racing? And so today I'm at the Oculus site, and I noticed that there was a Google Earth VR update that actually allows you to use the Oculus for looking around in Google Earth. And I actually love Google Earth. If you've never been somewhere and you want to kind of get the layout of the land, Google Earth is, I mean, you get a good feeling of being there. And I would imagine that doing it in VR is going to even make it that much cooler. And it's amazing what they've done with Google Earth and how they continue to develop something that is just, I mean, it's just a toy for the world to use. But I tell you, I'm a more educated person because of Google Earth. I know more about our world and places and what things are like because of Google Earth. Girth. And they have a 3D option. Thank you for that, Stephen King. And again, that is why I wanted to do this show live. That's why I believe the news for sim racing needed to be live, because there are so many people in the community who are reading up on things, and I'm watching about 30 sites each morning. I'm going to try to add to that list, get it up to 40, 50 sites that I'm checking before I go live, but your guys' input is always essential. You know, with Paul giving us that update on the Granity OSW firmware update. So I really appreciate your feedback. And again, if you're here watching, if you're here inputting on the news, consider yourself part of my pit crew. And I couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much for being here. Here's Sim Racing Expo. I don't have anything. It's all in German, and we already talked about Huskenveld. But another thing that did go on was the GT500 competition, an informal race. And if you know Coanda Sim Sport, they are a great racing team. And right here is them taking the prize for first place in the GT500 race that was done at Sim Expo. One of these guys I know personally. So Mitchell de Jong, the guy in the white shirt with the blue hat there, if you follow him, he is a global rallycross driver, and he actually lives in Southern California. So I run into him at CXE Simulations from time to time. Really good guy. You could almost call him a kid. He's very young. Really personable, really fun person, and he's one of those guys, when you heard about him getting a pro ride, you just had to feel good about it. It's what you want to see. But a big congratulations to those guys for a great job, and they fought off top teams. I mean, they had to fight off Pure Racing Team and Huskenveld Core Motorsports. This was not a giveaway. There were some very fast drivers at this event, so my hat's off to those guys. And again, that's Mitchell de Jong, and Mac Joa is his name, and here's a photo of these guys holding their trophy from the event. So that is pretty much it for today's news. I've kind of covered everything that was really out there that I found, and we will continue to do this Monday through Friday. Let me bring up the schedule real quick. Just want to keep reminding you guys what we're up to. The live show and everything I'm doing has slowed me down just a little bit on other things, but they are all in the works. We're working on Project Cars 2, working on our TSXW review, working on that DIY button box that I was working on. So we will have some more formal, normal, edited shows that won't be the live format. But as you can see on this schedule, Monday through Friday, and focus on the 9 a.m. Right now we're in that daylight transition time. So each company's jumping around. My GMT time might even be jumping around. If you follow West Coast, 9 a.m. Pacific West Coast time, USA, is when we're going to be doing these live shows, Monday through Friday. Saturday, we're going to knock it back an hour so I can sleep in just a little bit more. 10 a.m. for our Sim Chat, which is our Wind Tunnel inspired show. Last week we talked about, do you believe the hype, the whole media blitz going on for all the big sim companies right now. And then next week, as I mentioned, we're going to do VR, is this the future of sim racing? And I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. I'm going to bring a guest in to get their opinion as well as mine. Also, I have a few more interviews that are in the works. From now on, all interviews will be done live. That way, you guys can be involved in the interviews and ask some questions as well. Your TMX USB fried, you order a family to get a TM or even a fat. Now the TX wheel is $199. It's a fine starter wheel. If you are really finding that you're doing a lot of sim racing, it is lower than I would recommend. I would step up to a TMX if you want to maintain your Xbox compatibility. And if you want to jump into the Fanatic CSL for the Xbox to maintain that compatibility, it's going to set you back quite a bit more money. I actually just the other day was looking at pricing, and you know, you're looking at quite a bit more money for the Fanatic scenario over the Thrustmaster. But for example, you can get a 2-pedal TX wheel for $349. You can get a 3-pedal with a leather wheel for $469, just to give you an idea if you wanted to maintain. And then, of course, if you wanted to maintain Xbox compatibility and really step things up, you go to the TSXW wheel, which I haven't done my review on, but I can tell you it's an incredible wheel. And it does come with the T3 PA pedals, so not a bad setup in general there. But hopefully they warranty that, or you get that wheel fixed, because you should be able to sell it and make a little bit money. Yeah, that is a 500mm rim. He's talking about the prize there. Can you imagine having that on your sim rig? Talk about a bus wheel. That's pretty funny. So, hello, Gene from Thailand and Australia. Thank you for chiming in. You're the first person to chime in from Australia. I know, from Thailand. I'm sorry. We've had Australia. And I appreciate you being here and being a longtime fan of the show. Thank you very much. And Phil, if you just moved to VR, I'd love to have you here on Saturday when we talk about VR and is it the future. I've used it a lot. I can use it anytime I want. I love it and I hate it. I love it, and we'll get to that on Saturday. So Saturday we'll cover that. VR, is it the future of sim racing? So that is today's news. Phil from Sydney, thank you very much. I'm from Australia. Slidney. Sorry about that. Anyway, that is today's news. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being part of the pit crew and contributing. Had some great feedback and comments on today's topics and some inputs on things that I missed. If you have any ideas for topics for the news, let me know. I'll be sure to add them to tomorrow's show or whatever day is relevant. If you have any topics for our sim tunnel, our open discussion where we're just going to get out our grievances, get out our pet peeves, and discuss topics without any kind of handcuffs, because it's not going to be a formal review. It's going to be discussion with me and my friends out there, the pit crew, and we'll talk about it until we've really exhausted all of our thoughts on the topic, and then we'll call it a day. But again, I hope you enjoyed today's Simpit news. The Pit Stop will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.